G'day guys, and here, and it's a Homebrew Wednesday, and I haven't done one in a while. So the reason I haven't done one in a while, first of all, is apologies. We moved house. You may see a different sort of background behind us, and that took a couple of weeks to just get all sorted. I also got a new PC, so getting that all set up and getting the webcam and everything all set up again was a bit of time. But all set up now. Really love the new place. Got heaps of room. I put a brew down on the weekend, which is the first one in the new house and in a new storage area and whatnot. So I'll talk about that. But yeah, before we get going, we'll have a beer. So that's the brown ale that I brewed the other day. Not the other day, about a month ago, and it's come out good. It's come out so well. It's come out relatively clear as well. I'll try and just bring my torch up. Pretty happy with, if you can see, it's quite clear. Really happy with how it's come out. It's probably one of the best beers I've made, and it tastes fantastic. It's really interesting how it changes. It goes through phases depending on temperature. So it starts off, when I first had it, I actually was a bit, yeah, it's nice, but there's not much like flavour profile to it. It was quite a sort of average beer, I suppose. As it warms up, I got a real like nice malty sort of flavour, and it warms up even more. It starts getting real chocolatey from that chocolate malt. So it's a really interesting beer to drink. It is the best homebrew I've ever made. It really is. And the best thing, I've got all the grains and everything left over, so I can make it again. But it's the best homebrew I've made, hands down, by a long way. The cerveza is going really well. I'm now actually enjoying drinking that. Like you would have seen in some previous videos, I was a bit up in the air about it. I wasn't sure. It's now really nice. So I'm drinking that a bit. Had a good 3 or 4 of them on the weekend. It's a really nice beer. So I'm really happy that finally turned out okay. Because I was worried there for a while. As I said, we moved house, so we're actually in a house now. Before I was living in like an apartment or a unit, but we are in a house now, so it's really nice yard, a lot of space, really good. We're getting a dog in a few weeks. We're just waiting on her to be ready, so she's born and everything. We're just waiting on her to be ready to be picked up, so she's a brand new little puppy. So that's going to be an interesting time. Now, I did my first beer here on the weekend. And like I've said in a few previous videos, I really wanted to just go back to a standard IPA because I've been experimenting a lot, and like I said, the cerveza, I was a bit up in the air for a while. Has it worked? Has it not worked? Am I going to have to go and buy a couple of cases of beer because I haven't got any left? And it turned out okay, but just to be safe, I put down an IPA yesterday. I used one of the new Cooper's IPA kits. I mean, whether they're new or not, or just rebranded, I don't know, but the new Cooper's IPA. I did like to see that they put a little bit of thought in their packaging. So rather than, I still don't like that it's got paper labels on it rather than printed on the can. I know the reasons for doing it, but it's still a nuisance having the paper. But at least with this one, it's actually a little bit like serrated, I suppose. So you can actually peel it off really easy before you actually use it. It's actually, they've thought about it and actually designed it to peel off. So that's a really good feature to add, I guess. But I went with the standard IPA. One thing I don't like, it was a pain in the neck. They now glue their yeast packages to the top of the can. Now I don't use the yeast that comes with these kits. I always buy a different yeast, but it was hard to get off. I felt like I was going to rip the bag of yeast open all over the kitchen floor, just trying to pull it off because it was stuck on there real hard. So I don't really like that. I'd like it if they can change that. I know they won't ever see this video, so they won't, but it was just a pain in the ass. But yeah, just went standard. I got some, now I'm checking, I got some Galaxy hops, and I threw around 50 grams in. I made like a hop tea. So basically just boiled some water and just threw 50 grams of hops in. I let it boil for maybe 15 minutes and then strained it. So it's essentially called a hop tea. You're making a hop flavoured water as such. And then I pour that into the fermenter, poured in the Cooper's liquid malt, and a kilo of dry malt extract and 500 grams of dextrose. The specific gravity is a bit high. It came out at 1.050, which is probably the highest SG I've actually had in a beer. But you get that with the kilo of sugar and the kilo of dry malt extract and the kilo of dextrose, the 500 grams of dextrose. I guess that adds to it. Whether there's a higher sugar content in Cooper's new kits, I don't know. It's the first one I've used and it is quite high, so I don't know whether there is an extra sort of whack of sugar in those kits. As an IPA, it's meant to be stronger, so maybe they've taken that into account and put a higher sugar content in it. And then I just threw a USO 5 in. I think I'll dry hop the rest of the Galaxy, so I've got about 50 grams left, so I think I might actually dry hop that after a week. I've got a muslin bag just lying there, so I think I will do that. Now, I'm keeping the fermenter outside. It is basically covered, it's under the house. But I just found it's nice and cool, so it's sitting up on some milk crates like I normally have it, but I used to have it in my garage, and it would ferment at around 22 to 23 Fahrenheit. This one's sitting at about 19. I didn't have to cool the water or anything, I could just pour water in, it was sweet. So I'm expecting it to be good. The temperature control I'm hoping is going to be nice. The problem with being outside obviously is you do get a hot day, the temperature's going to come up, but it is sort of sitting underneath the house in complete shade 24/7, so I'm hoping that it will stay cool enough to actually stay below the sort of temperatures that I was getting before, and hopefully get a nicer beer out of it. I think the reason that I strayed away from doing those IPAs and everything was it was just a bit, for me, just a standard like kit and kilo mix. That's why I was going with some specialty grains and that, just to get a bit of body to it, a bit of depth. But I think the fermentation probably wasn't helping, being that it was fermenting at a higher temperature. So it looks like I've got a better temperature control out there. So I guess we'll see. I am still working on a Keezer, so I have got the room for it. I haven't yet even sought permission to do it with the ball and chain, but I don't think she'll have a problem with it, because there's two rooms in this house that are actually essentially mine. There's this one, which has got my PC, my gaming consoles and that in here, and there's another one next to me, which actually has my hobbies in it. So I've got other hobbies outside of brewing that I do in there. It's kind of like a second little gaming room, if you like. So they're both kind of my rooms rather. So I don't think she'd have an issue with me having it in there. I think it's just, she'd have an issue with me having a keg basically available 24/7. But I think I can control myself. I think it'll be initially very tempting to just keep pouring myself a nice beer out of a keg, but I think the novelty would wear off, and pardon me, and it would be a good thing to have. So I think I'll do that. I don't mind bottles. I've got no issue with bottles. It's just sometimes you just want a beer, and my bottles are 750ml bottles, and it's a lot to have. Like the other night, we were sitting out the back. We've got a little outdoor fireplace, so I had a fire going. I got through about six beers, and you think, well, 6 beers isn't a lot, but when they're 750ml each, that's, you're looking like almost 5 litres of beer there. It's a lot of beer, and I don't know. It's just I find that I just go through it a lot with the bottles, because you're just used to sitting there having a drink and it's done. You open it, you're not going to put it back in the fridge because you've opened it. It's going to go flat. So you pour it, you drink it, you pour it, you drink it, and you just burn through them. And I found that a few times. I've really got through some in a night where it's more than I would have normally had. And I think if I was having to go and actually just pour a keg, I'd be right, because this glass here, for example, my bottle will be 1.5 of these glasses. So I have the glass, I have the other half, open another bottle, have the glass, have the other. So I'm having 1.5 glasses per bottle. I don't think I'll be having as much with the keg. So I may get one. It's also the funds as well. We've just moved. I have this computer, it's a custom built gaming computer, so it wasn't cheap. Plus the dog, the dog's not cheap. Like I nearly fell off my chair when I found out how much this dog was costing. and then obviously maintaining the dog and looking after it. So not exactly flush with cash at the moment, so I may hold off on the keys. There's a few other things I want prior, but it's on the list. It's definitely on the list. I can get a keg for free. In fact, I'm getting a keg for free. A mate of mine, his son was big into home brewing and he's gotten out of it. He's not really interested in it anymore. It's just, he doesn't, he had the novelty of it. He did it for a year or so and then just kind of got over it and just went back to buying beer. So he offered me his keg and I gladly accepted. But obviously I need the freezer for it. He's keeping the freezer. So I'm sure I can get it real cheap. It's just a case of getting it and having it here and not having too much drama. But yeah, so that's a little update for you guys. I'm hoping to be back on updating. That's the plan. It should be a lot easier here. Nice to set up, new computer. I've got really quick internet here now where we can finally get cable internet here, so I can actually upload videos and it doesn't take like 7 hours to upload a 5-minute video. I get a good upload speed now, so I should be able to do it pretty much on time every time. And that's it. So that's nothing else from me. Thanks very much for watching. Apologies again for the delay, but just had stuff on. Have a great day, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.